All right, is it recording? Yeah. All right, cool. What's up, guys? So, first off, this isn't gonna be a consistent thing that I'm doing. Let me fix this. My camera's shitty. Anyway, uh, long story short, pretty much me and Josh been talking, and obviously, we've got plans where we're like a partnership and we're doing a lot of things. And one of our main focuses, we want to push this game. We want to push D&D and role playing and a whole bunch of other shit forward, and we're trying to ride this wave. So this right here, what I'm doing, this is may or may not be a thing, but this is like a test run. And I was thinking about doing this just for the sake of you guys and us and the way we play our game. But what this is what I'll be trying to do is, when we play, you guys tend to have questions, and you'll ask Josh, being that he's the DM, and then if he has any questions, he asks me, or you guys ask me, and there's a whole bunch of questions being asked. Uh, and I try to answer them, but we're getting to a point in the games now where uh, you guys are learning the game more, so I don't have to do that all the time. It's getting to a point where it's more about technicalities, and that's fine. Obviously, still gonna answer those questions because I want you guys to know the game. But I'm also trying to role play more. I'm trying to get you guys to role play your characters more and be less disconnected from your actual character and stop worrying about things outside of game. So yeah, I'm gonna be answering your questions, obviously, if you need questions answered. But I'm gonna do these types of things probably, like videos reflecting on like last game and giving little notes and player tips and tricks and things to help better you guys' games, like if you give a shit about it. And also it'll help not having to talk about it at the table, especially on the days that Josh fucking comes down here. We don't have to waste more time asking questions. Um, Also, we've been talking about a lot of things, and right now, you guys are doing great. Every game, you guys are getting better at playing. You're knowing the rules now. You're kind of getting a sense of rhythm and repetition when it comes to role play, traveling, fighting, conversating, whatever. But you guys are still somewhat disconnected when it comes to your character or being realistic about what's happening. Um, and again, like, there's no right or wrong way to play your character because it's your character. However, I'm just proposing ideas or criticism, constructive criticism, if you guys want any, because it would be nice in the future if if any of you are interested to possibly stream some of our sessions. That would be pretty dope. But you guys are not ready for that, and that's just being honest. Because some of you, like I said, you're still not fully immersed in your character or the world. You're interested in stuff like that, and but you need to learn how to like get in the shoes and just so I'm just gonna say simple like tips and tricks and ideas for you guys to keep in mind. And you can find these things online. It's not like I'm someone doing something new, but I'm your friend and I've already been playing with you guys, so obviously I know some things that are some areas you guys can kind of work on. So, first tip, focus on your character, nothing else. Focus on who you are, what you can do, and what it is you will possibly be able to do. That should be your main focus. Stop worrying about other people, what they can do, what they can't do, because in game, you don't know those things. And, some of you get the idea of knowing what you would know, what you don't know, but some of you are still having trouble when it comes to being in character, forgetting stuff that you, as the actual player, actually know as opposed to what your character knows. So only focus on what you know and what it is that you've seen or heard or learned. Now, obviously, there's stuff that has happened in our backstories that's prior to us actually playing. So, obviously, there are going to be times where you can't speak solidly on something because you don't know if you actually know those things, into which case you would ask Josh, do I know this? And he would either give you a straight up yes or no, like, yeah, you know this, or no, you don't. Or he might make you roll to see to what degree you might know this. And that's normal. But only focus on what it is your character can do and is going to do. Because when other people start role playing or when other people start making decisions with their characters, if you already know what you're going to do or what it is that you would want to do, it's easier for you to react to those things as opposed to you taking them for face value and having to ask yourself, what would you do and what would your character do? And then trying to make some type of decision between them. It's kind of difficult and it's going to take you semi in and semi out of your character. So that's one thing. Um, second thing, second tip is everybody's sorry, everybody has a character sheet and everybody has their stats and everything, and you guys are familiar with what to look at and what is what. But I want you guys to focus on the stats on the left side: the strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. The reason why I want you guys to focus on that is because these stats, believe it or not, not only are they just there to help you see what you're good at and what you can do and how much damage you do and what your checks are. Aside from those things, they actually guide you into how to role play. If you have a high strength score, you know, some of you are just seeing that as damage. And yeah, that's important, but how does that make you look in the game, Like for example, Mavrock. Mavrock has a strength of a +3. I don't know the actual big number, but it's a +3. And for those of you who, are new to this, which is pretty much all of you, I'm going to give you examples of what it looks like between different modifiers, right? So if you have a 0 as your strength score, that doesn't mean you're weak. It just doesn't mean you're outstandingly strong. You're a normal person. You're a basic, regular person who does regular work. You might show signs of some muscle, you might not. But you're not someone who goes out there saying, I can lift that, or I can pick that person up, or I can do this. You're not, now in real life, if you are like that, then you would understand. If not, or if you used to be, you would know what that's like. When you were younger and you were a teen, you were probably like, oh, well, I know I can't fuck that guy up, or I know I can't lift this heavy ass, crate up or whatever. That's a 0. You're a basic, regular person. A +1 is someone who's, a little bit above average. You may do some activities here or there where might increase your strength better than the average person who doesn't do anything. But that's pretty much what a +1 is. It's not really insanely strong or stronger than someone who's basic. It's just a decent amount of physicality that can sometimes be shown physically, or just you surprise somebody. A +1 is that person where, like, you think, two people getting in a fight and you bet on the guy who's going to lose and you find out he's actually stronger than the other person. That might be a +1. you know a +2 is depth. All right, so put like this: a +1 is someone who just started going to the gym, right? They've been going for like a couple months, and they don't look all that different from someone who's a 0, but they definitely can lift weights that a 0 can't, because they go to the gym and they only been going for a couple months, not even years or anything like that. And they probably don't go every day or every other day. They probably go like 3 times a week. You know, that's a +1. A +2 is someone who's definitely been going to the gym a lot longer than a +1. This is the person that has been going to the gym. They might have some days off where they don't go or whatever, but you can see it physically. This person exercises. This person probably plays sports. This person goes to the gym. This person can do shit, right? That's what a +2 is. A +3 at this point is someone who physically you can tell this motherfucker goes to the gym, right? This person works out. I'm talking about strength in particular, right? So a +3 in strength, which is Mavrock, right? I'm using Mavrock as an example. Mavrock is a +3. Physically, you can tell he works out. You can tell he has no problem lifting weights. A +3 at this point is someone who goes to the gym and it's that person at the gym that you're like, why are you here? You know, like why are you working out? But it's to maintain what a +3 is. A +3 isn't someone trying to like keep fucking going. A +3 is that person that's got what they want and they're holding on to it. And they go to the gym and they just bust out a couple quick like little supersets and they just keep their muscle mass and their strength and you know all those types of things. Those are +3s. +3s are usually like even movie stars. You know, like when they do those intense workouts and obviously you see the shit that they go through, those are +3s. +4s are those people who have attained +3 physicality and strength and they got this nice, you know, body mass and muscle and strength, but they keep trying to go fucking further. A +4 is like that dude who like is already ripped, but he's working out like those small little muscles to get more detail, and like they're just improving their strength on 1,000. That's a +4. Excuse me. That's a +4. Now, how does that help with your role playing? It just gives you a mental image of what that is. Now, obviously, I only focus on strength, and that's something more understandable because we're trying to convey that into damage and, what it is you can physically do. Obviously, there's a couple of you in the group who don't have strength as their main stat. You use dexterity. The rogues, the monks, or whatever. You guys use dexterity. So obviously, you won't be as larger as someone with a +3 strength, but if you have a +3 or +4 dexterity, you're still fit. You're still healthy. You have like a Bruce Lee body. Zero body fat, fucking fit, and you can still be big. I'm not saying that has to affect your appearance, but I'm just giving you examples of what the modifiers mean compared to the other numbers, right? So you can still be a brolic build of a +3 dexterity and a 0 strength, be like, for example, I think Arjed has that stat, if I'm not mistaken. Like his strength and his dexterity are pretty much like the same, and he can use either or, but he would mainly use dexterity being a monk and being swift and fast and stuff like that. But he's a fucking dragonborn. He's hefty and he's big, and just because of the race and all that stuff, it makes sense. But I was just explaining the differences between the numbers, right? Now, those are for the top three stats, right? Everyone focuses on strength if you're a melee character that uses strength, like myself. So you focus on that and you focus on the numbers, and you know for a fact this person can lift up this heavy thing, or if someone's dead weight on the floor, he could pick them up, no problem. If someone has a +3 or +4 dexterity, you already know this guy's in, this guy's out. He's fast, he's nimble, that these people do damage, high damage when it comes to sneak attacks and stuff like that. Okay. Constitution is really just health, let's be honest. But the rest of you, and it's pretty much the majority of you because no one really is a spellcaster in the group. JR just got the ability to cast spells. And aside from that, I'm pretty much the only spellcaster in the group. So I'm not gonna focus on me. I'm just letting you guys know, like, some of you are just forgetting about the bottom three stats, and these bottom three stats are actually the most crucial in role playing because they actually dictate how you somewhat should navigate your character to be. And obviously, spellcasters would focus on these the same way in damage that we do with strength and dexterity, but there's more to that. So, first thing is intelligence, right? Intelligence, if you have a zero intelligence, you're not stupid. You just you just know normal shit. Like you just probably like just went to high school and graduated. Then that's it. Like you just did basic schooling, you know what you need to know, but you're not exceeding in fucking, academics. You're not a bookworm. You're not the guy, always trying to excel and get 90s and A's and shit. You're not that person. You just breezed on by. You probably got C's and shit. That's a zero. Like you know what you need to know, and you kept moving forward. You know how to speak. You know how to read. You know how to write. You know, you know basic things, but you're not a genius. That's what a zero is. A plus one is someone who kind of gets it better than everyone else. Kind of like that person who doesn't study, kind of gets shit. You tend to score higher than other people. You tend to learn and pick up things a little bit better than other people. You're probably a faster reader. That's a plus one. A plus two is someone who's really like, reads information, picks up on it quickly, might have a photographic memory. You might, decipher things a lot. You might be really good at riddles, puzzles, brain teasers, like you might be good at really solving fucking problems really quickly with a plus two because you're just better than the average person. A plus three is a fucking scholar. This is someone who researches, fucking studies, reads a lot, learns, new skills, is always using their mind, is like fucking nasty in chess. Like, these that's a plus three, right? Uh and a plus two and a plus three might be able to go into a new area and they've never been there before, but they've heard the name and they might have read it in a book. And, in game, you might, oh shit, I got this kind of skill. I might be able to fucking see if I know something about this town, that I might have heard or read, in a fucking in the past or something. Those are plus twos and plus threes. You might actually want to incorporate that into your character if you have a higher intelligence or if you even have a negative intelligence. That will also deter you from wanting to make smart decisions or wanting to uh, decipher things or try to solve riddles and shit like that because your character is not naturally someone who would do that if you have a negative, which means you're kind of dumb. You're a little slower than the average person. And then obviously plus four is like a fucking like they're like not fucking geniuses. Like you don't fucking make up new theories, but you're a smart motherfucker. Like you are college level, like you could teach a fucking course. Like this is where you're at. And that's why wizards tend to have high intelligence because they have to study and learn, decipher and code their spells. And that's why, they're just fucking beastly. Next up, wisdom. Now, wisdom, people ask the difference what's between intelligence and wisdom. And honestly, it's book smart and street smarts, right? Wisdom is your gut. Wisdom is, you know, just your natural sense of things. That's why wisdom checks are your perception, your survival. Um, I forgot all the rest of them off the top of my head, but you can see why certain checks go with certain stats, right? That's why investigation is intelligence, whereas perception is wisdom, is what you gather naturally, like just keeping a level head up. Um, that I gotta drink this, but that is wisdom, right? So, oh god, so wisdom, you know, again, it's it's being that person to giving your 2 cents to kind of give your words of reason, trying to think outside the box, but in a moral type of way, not in a more intelligent way where you're trying to be strategic. I think that would be more intelligence. Wisdom is more just natural. Like I don't think we should do that. Like that just doesn't sound good, doesn't feel good. The higher wisdom you have, the more patience and the more humility that you would have, and just the more gracefulness that you would have about yourself, being someone of high wisdom. And then there's charisma. And I feel like this is the number one stat that should really determine everyone's role play because if you have a high charisma score, you should be doing a lot of talking. you should feel comfortable talking, you should feel open to talking, and you should feel like when you say shit, shit happens. However it goes, it is what it is. But you should feel confident speaking. You should be confident speaking in open places. Your character might be someone who's quiet, might be someone who's reserved, but if you have a high charisma, that means that when you speak effectively, and you speak where you really grab people's attention. You really get them to either get persuaded by you, or, you know, when you choose to lie, it's fucking spot on. You know, High charisma should make you really feel more fluid with your role play. If you have a basic level of charisma or even negatives, that doesn't mean you speak less. If you have shitty charisma, that doesn't mean that you're quiet or you don't speak. I mean, if that's your character, that's your character. But a negative score means you speak, and when it speaks, it just doesn't go in your favor. Like, you have awkward conversation, you say things at the wrong time, or you try to crack humor at the wrong times, or you try to give wisdom, but it just didn't come out right. You try to make an analogy on something, and it's just not good. It's pretty shitty. That's bad charisma. And use real life, use experiences that like, I don't know, fucking think of that person that like, this person cannot speak to anyone. That could be you. That could be someone That could be your family member or something. Be like, yo, this person talks a lot, but they just shouldn't. That could be somebody with low charisma. Um, and yeah, I think you guys should. I spent a lot of time on that, but it's a real basic rule that I feel like you guys should just really focus on. Like, just take a second, look at your stats, and just look at, all right, I know who my character is because I created him. I know what he acts and what he says because I've already been doing that. But take a second to really look at those stats and say, okay, well, how do these stats affect the role play that I'm already doing? And just kind of try to weave that in there and go, okay, my character is more, you know what, I'm gonna wait. Like, some of you might have low charisma, but high wisdom, right? So you're gonna probably want to be one of those people that lets everyone speak, and when everyone's said and done, then you come in and you say what you gotta say, right? Because you're taking everything in, and you're gonna break everything down, and then you're gonna give in your voice of reason. I feel like that's something reasonable with a low charisma and high wisdom. Or if you have really high, like, for example, I'll use Mavrock. So for Mavrock, I have a really strong strength score of a +3. So I'm a powerhouse. My dexterity is kind of like meh, which makes sense. I'm wearing heavy armors. I'm agile, but I'm not as swift and smooth as maybe Arjet or Sajiro. Those guys are gonna move in, move out. I'm not. Mavrock just can't do that. Also, he's not stealthy at all, not just because of the armor that he's wearing, but again, his dexterity score isn't crazy good. Um, and his constitution, he's a hardy person. He's strong. He's healthy. Uh, but then when you roll into intelligence and wisdom, he's literally basic. I have 2 zeros on intelligence and wisdom. And that's why I don't always make the decision that feels best for you guys, or you might not agree with what I do, or don't show that Mavrock knows what he's doing all the time, because a lot of it is just going with it, but he's gonna try his best to convince you guys that he's got it, you know. Also, you guys appointed him to be a leader, and he's never been one, And what do you do with someone who doesn't have strong intelligence or strong wisdom, and try to put them into a role? They're just gonna go with what they know. But Mavrock does have a high charisma. He has a charisma of a +2, and that comes with being a paladin. Taking up that mantle, trying to do whatever it is that their goal is to do, and they gotta talk their way out of a lot of things sometimes, and that's why Mavrock does a lot of speaking. I don't just speak a lot because in real life I've played this game more than you guys and I'm more experienced. I do it because that's what the character does. If I had a shitty charisma, I would purposefully be getting us into a lot of shit that we should not be getting ourselves into because that's what a shitty like that's what I would have perceived as my shitty charisma, or I would have probably spoke in a not a nasty voice, but probably an unsettling one that just doesn't feel right in your ears. So, I just gave you guys some insight, but I used myself as an example. But don't forget my first tip, which was don't focus on other people's characters. Focus on your own. Focus on what it is you can do and what it is that you want to do and what it is that you would do. But don't be, you know, I guess detached from your character, right? Because, and this is the only, because I don't really remember too many notes or whatever from the last game, but one thing that stood out to me was how the game ended. You guys, we just fought Strahd, and it was hectic. I mean, it was crazy. We ran into a town that we felt was safe, and it's fucked up. There's bats everywhere. There's vampires. There's people dead. There's blood everywhere. There's people screaming for their lives. And we fight Strahd, and it did not go in our favor. And at the end of the fight, none of you did anything. And, not only did you not do anything, but no one took the time to really sit in your character's shoes and make a sound decision on what it is that your character wanted to do, right? As soon as the fight was over, Mavrock got up, and the first thing that was on his mind was all these people that died. And that's because Mavrock was one of the very few people who knew that the town was not protected because those bones were missing. But Mavrock made the decision to go with the group, to lead the group to this fucking winery and deal with that. And these are the consequences. So the first thing on his mind is guilt. So the first thing he did was bury the dead. Because fuck, it's the least he could do, right? He tried to kill the person that basically killed them, and he failed at that. The least he can do is fucking, put the dead to rest. And a little tidbit into his bonds and ideals and his morals and all that stuff. He feels the dead should always rest peacefully. And I wrote that in before even, playing this character. So as soon as that happened, it was like, fuck. Mavrock's gonna do this. He's not gonna go to sleep. He's gonna get exhausted, and he's gonna make himself exhausted, and he's gonna do it on purpose because it's like a self punishment for something that could have been avoided. That's why I did what I did. Now you guys just took that as this is a game, and all right, he's gonna do that, whatever. I'm just gonna stay here. That's unrealistic if you were being in your shoes. I mean, you just had a fight, and a lot of you almost died. You're heavily exhausted. We just traveled from the winery. We're beat, and we just fought Strahd, and we almost died. And I think the only person that really did anything that felt like kind of made sense was Leovold. I mean, Leovold was like, yo, I'm just sitting in these fucking pews and I'm drinking because he almost fucking died. And that made sense. But there could have been more after that. Could have been, nah, I go back, I'm getting some sleep. Like, I'm going to wash up or I'm going to, you can just add this flavor to your character. Like, you don't have to sit and wait while someone else does something. Because if we were all in real life and we all got into a fight while we were trying to go home and we all survived and we get on the train and we all go our separate ways, like, what are you going to do? You know? You're going to go home, you're going to take a shower, and you're going to let the adrenaline leave you, and you're going to go and you're going to pass out. And you're going to be grateful that everybody's still alive. But you're not going to wait and stay up until I get home or that person gets home or that person gets home. You're going to fucking do what you got to do because now you're home. So that's what, some of you guys should do. You should have been in your character and be like, you know what? No, my character would have done this. My character would have did this. I'm gonna go to the inn. You know what? Who's important to you? What's important to you? Like what? oh, Irina or something. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go wherever she's at. I'm gonna go protect her, or I'm gonna sit by her. If she's important to you, go fucking do that, or do something, or just say, you know what? I'm going straight to the rooms that we rented, and I'm sleeping there, and I'll wait for this to blow over. In this next game coming up, we're all gonna be exhausted because nobody slept. The time that we did it, Mavrock did it on purpose, but you guys just didn't really think about it. So we're all exhausted now. The way that it pretty much should have been was Mavrock should have been the only person exhausted because the rest of you really didn't do anything. You should have just, you know, went to sleep or something, or do something that's beneficial to your character. I think the only other person that I can remember that did something was Kylie, trying to search and see where Strahd went, try to get some tracks, and he also tried to find me, which, you know, cool. But once you didn't find me, it should have been like, all right, I go to my room and I go to sleep because it's fucking late. That's another thing. You guys aren't keeping in mind of that. But again, there's no right or wrong way to play your character. And again, you guys are still new. So that makes sense. And don't feel discouraged by what I'm saying. I'm just putting perspective on things so that way you guys can continue to be better and continue to learn your characters because you guys are doing great. Every new game, it's getting better. That moment with Strahd and Austin was an amazing moment. And I've had countless of those in the past, but I was really shocked to see that you guys really were stuck in it. The music was perfect, and nobody said anything, and they just let the scene roll out. And I thought that was great. That was the like we could have so much more of those moments if you guys were more in character and less out of character. Um, and I know we're gonna get there. I'm just gonna keep doing this because fuck it. Like, let's see what happens. But yeah, so those are my two tips for this past game, I guess. And I can't wait to see you guys this weekend. It's only gonna be online, so on that. And I'm sorry if this video is kind of long, but when it comes to D&D, the conversations get long. But yeah, so if you guys got any questions or whatever, obviously you can ask me. But moving forward, I'm gonna try and stay in character as much as possible. Like my demeanor, what I do, like if I got a face on, don't think that I'm actually mad in real life, or if I talk to you a certain way, don't think that I'm taking it out on you or I'm aggressive towards you. I'm not thinking about, JR or Austin or Nick or Darwin or no, Ned. I'm thinking about Kylie and Leovold and all these other characters. Like I'm thinking of you guys as that. Like once we start playing, like that's what I'm doing. Because if I don't get myself into character, then I'm just Pat and I'm just making my decisions. And I was like, what the fuck is the point of playing this fucking game? So yeah. So I hope you guys found that interesting. And I'm sure some of you probably were already doing that, whatever I said, but just wanted to spread some more light on it. So I'll see you guys. Can't wait to see you guys this weekend. And yeah, bitches. Peace.